This is Michael Broom, and this is the Good Father Brand Podcast. Thank you for joining me on another week of the podcast. I hope everything's been going good for you. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. What I'm going to talk about for this episode, I'm going to talk about the 3 things that I learned from me and my dad's relationship. Now, if this is your first time listening to the Good Father Brand Podcast, my backstory is that me and my father didn't have the greatest relationship growing up. I grew up without my dad being active in my life. So I'm not saying I wear it as like on my sleeve or as a badge of honor or anything like that. It's just the reality of the fact that I grew up without my dad. So a lot of that, that kind of influenced me to actually create this brand and to create a podcast based upon that, because I believe that fathers are important. Fathers should be active in their children's lives. There should be things that, it's certain things that fathers teach their kids that mothers can't. Now, I'm not undermining the mothers out there, but it's certain things that you teach your kids that that the father can. And I feel like the mother and father should work together when it comes to that relationship. So just as mothers are important, I honestly believe fathers are important also. So yeah, but I'm gonna tell you the 3 things I learned about me and my dad's relationship. The first thing is that you have to realize that you are a part of each other. So, no matter what you and your dad's relationship is, that you have to realize that your father is also a part of you. Unfortunately, in a bad situation, if your father wasn't in your life, he's still a part of you. He continues his lineage, through you. So I know it's not a good, I'm not exactly sure like how you would view that, but it's true that, your father's a part of you. And also you are a part of, your dad. You are a important part of your dad's life. So I do believe that, that has a lot of influence. And so it may be physical. It may be, a part of their personality, your whatever your strengths and weaknesses of your dad. That's gonna, some of that passes down to you. Like, your dad has like an anger problem, or he's very inquisitive, or, he's very intelligent, or, you may look just like your dad. Like in my case, I look just like my dad. So I basically carry his physical appearance everywhere I go, no matter whether I like it or not. If I didn't like it, I had to get like plastic surgery or something to change that. So, and when you get older, you realize that, even if you don't have the best relationship with your dad, that you appreciate the things that were given by your father through genetics or whatever like that. Like, me and my dad had the best relationship, but, I got his good hair, I have a good grade of hair, but, that's just an example of like, you can always turn a negative into a positive, and so, you're a part of each other. That's part of those genetics. A lot of this stuff you're not going to be able to help because, without your dad's genetics, you wouldn't be here. Women just can't have kids, without the dad or whatever like that. So you do have to see that point of like having your dad. He's a part of you and you are a part of him. Y'all are a part of each other. And so he has to see like, the things that, you go through and you're just a part of each other. Like, there's no denying that. And the least likely you're more to deny it, the more you're able to realize like, you know what? My dad is a part of me. I'm a part of him, and just leave it at that. You don't have to like overanalyze all that stuff because you have to realize that, you're just a part of each other. That's exactly how it is, no matter what you think about it. The second thing that I learned about me and my dad's relationship is that you are your own person. Like, you may be named after your dad, you know, you might have a few of his qualities, his mannerisms, but that doesn't mean you are your father. And if you have a good relationship or not a good relationship with your dad, you still got to realize that you're your own person. Like for me, I got my dad's first name, but everybody always associated me with him. They didn't see me as like my own person. They saw more of my dad than me. And when I was younger, that was an issue. I was like, dang man, like why can't no one see me for me? They see my dad. Like that created an identity issue with me, you know, growing up. I was like, dang man, like why is it that people associate me with my father, they can't associate me with me? Like, you know, why can't no one see me as Michael Broom and instead of seeing me as my father? That's difficult to put a child through. And the people that do that to kids, y'all are wrong, man. Y'all don't realize how damaging it is to a kid. Like, you know, that kid has to learn themselves. They have to learn who they are. You keep throwing up how much they're like their dad in their face. That's an insult, not a compliment. Even if your father was something of greatness, you still don't want to be. I mean, you could look up to your dad as a role model, but let that child be, you know, look up to their dad as a role model. Don't shove who their father is down their throat, whether that's positive or whether that's negative. That's annoying. You know, like people don't realize how annoying that could be. Like, for example, Michael Jordan's sons or LeBron James' son or, you know, a successful black man's son or daughter, they got to live up to their dad's reputation, their image and stuff like that. And they ain't got to. They ain't got to live up to that kind of stuff. People put those labels upon people to make them, to people's kids and make them feel like they got to live up to their dad. And that's in a positive light. Like, Michael Jordan's sons didn't do anything. They didn't even go to the NBA. They didn't even go to the league. And they're basically looked upon as rejects, or they're rejected because they wasn't their father. Maybe they just wasn't their purpose is to play in the NBA, or, you know, or anything like that. Maybe it wasn't in their purpose. Maybe it wasn't in their purpose to be like that. But we as people love to shove down whoever their father is to them. And now, like I said before, they could be in a positive light. They could be in a negative light. Like, you shouldn't, like, if you do that subconsciously or consciously, it's not cool. You have to realize that people are they're their own person. Like, my son is named after me, but he's still going to have his own purpose, his own light, and his own path. And if I become greatness or if I'm a failure, according to the world, my son shouldn't live the ramifications of, you know, of my reputation. If I become this great person, that doesn't mean my son has to do the exact same thing. Like, I play basketball, you know, for a little bit, but that doesn't mean my son has to play basketball. If I do something, that doesn't mean my child has to. We have to get into that. We have to get out of that mode that we got to be just like our parents just like our dad because other people say so. We don't have to do that. And I don't like it when we won't let kids be their own person, develop their own personality, be themselves. They ain't got to be the image of their dad. They don't have to be the image of their father. Like, I know when I was younger, like, I just hated my first name because it's exactly what it was. I'm still my own person. It's kind of like people never gave me that fair shot to be me. They always looked at me as my father. And they didn't see, like, I had my own experiences, my own struggles, my own, you know, triumphs or whatever like that. You know, they didn't see that. All they see is my dad. Like, I live a completely different life than my dad did, you know? And people will a lot of times give you their own expectations of what you should be because of how your father is. And that's good or bad. Like, my father didn't graduate college. No, actually, my dad he didn't even go to college. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, I'm better than my dad because I graduated college. But that's just an example of people will label you because of your dad. People didn't assume college for me because my dad didn't go. That doesn't make me better than my dad. It's just that, for my path was just different. For my path, I wanted to go to college and graduate and stuff like that just because I wanted to get to a certain career. But that doesn't mean that I had to live under that because people expected me not to. Just because my father didn't go to college doesn't mean I wasn't meant not to go. My father has a lot of kids, but me, I only have one child, and people expect me to have more children because my dad did. My dad does have I have a, reputation, being a ladies' man. I don't know about now, but he did have that reputation just because of all the kids he has. But people expect me to have that same mentality, and I honestly don't. I'm the polar opposite. I'm like for most of my life, I was a shy, quiet, antisocial kid. So I didn't portray that just because I'm naturally not like that. So, and I got looked down upon that because my father was, but I wasn't. I wasn't, talking to a bunch of women or, doing all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying I'm better than my dad because I chose not to. It's just the fact it just wasn't part of my personality to be that way. People love to throw who your father was in your face to make you think twice about what you're doing in your own life. And that's not right. The people out there that, no matter what your father does or doesn't do or who he is and who he isn't, you still be you. You have the right and the power to be your own person. You got the right and the power to be your own man, to live a life according to your terms and your perspectives and your light and your path. Your path is going to be different than your father's. No matter who your father is, your path is going to be different. Like if your dad grew up struggling, but you grew up in privilege, that's the difference. That means your path and your experiences was going to be different than your father's. Your father might, like, say for example, like I grew up in the projects. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. Now, my son might grow up in privilege, but that doesn't mean that my son is going to have the same experiences as me. We grew up in two different environments. So his lot of stuff that he experienced, I never experienced because we grew up in two different circumstances. So people probably think, oh, he need to have a certain mentality because of how I grew up. But how he grew up is different. His experiences are going to be different. So you just be you. You are your own person, no matter who your father is. And no matter what people tell you, you're still your own man. So that's pretty much the second thing that I learned about the relationship between, about me and my dad's relationship, that, I got to be me. No matter what my father did or whatever like that, I got to be me. The last thing is that you must forgive, although you will never get I'm sorry. Now, this is something this is the hardest thing that I ever had to do. I honestly didn't really forgive my father for everything that happened in my childhood until I think I was like 28. I was 28. I was 27, 28 years old when I did it. It was the year before I graduated college. Like, I realized that I had to forgive him for one in order to move on to foreclosure. And I didn't want my son going through the same thing that I did with my father. So I felt as if I harbored that anger and resentment and frustration, that it's going to pass down. What if something happens and my son has resentment or anger towards me because of that? Like, me and his mom are not currently together. And I don't, if I don't forgive my father for us not growing up in the same home and him not being active in my life, what if my son has the same anger and resentment towards me when it comes to me in the relationship between me and his mom? That stuff, that anger and resentment, that stuff can pass down. So I was like, I gotta close this chapter in my life. I felt like I was getting too old to harbor it. It was, I was realizing growing up that, I'm crying at night because my father wasn't in my life. He's sleeping at night. He's sleeping peacefully. You know, he ain't worried about what I'm going through, my circumstances, what I'm thinking about, where I'm at, what I'm doing, what I'm up to. He probably didn't care. So I had to realize, like, okay, I got to move on. I got to move forward. Now, I don't forget, but I got to forgive him. I got to forgive him for me. It's not for him, it's for me. And I wanted to forgive after I got, because the first thing when I thought about me forgiving, I thought it was gonna be this thing that, I thought it was some stuff off of a movie. I thought it would be like that we would have a conversation, and he would be like, you know what, everything I did, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry I wasn't at the end of your life. I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry that all this stuff happened. I'm sorry that, I didn't get the relationship with you that I ideally wanted. I made a lot of mistakes. I messed up. And I'm sorry. Can we build a relationship from now on, since I missed out on the first 20-something years of your life? That's what I wanted. That's what I thought I was going to hear. For me, forgiveness would have been a lot easier if that happened. I'd have been like, yeah, man, like, I'm cool. I can do that. Like, forgiveness would be easy. Forgiveness is hard if you never get that. I had to learn to forgive, although I would never get, I'm sorry. I am 31 years old. My father still hasn't apologized for anything he's done when it came to me and his relationship. Honestly, my father felt like he probably hasn't done anything wrong. He feels like he basically victim blames. He blamed my mom for moving a lot. I didn't move a whole lot in my life. Like, from age 4 to the time I was grown, only moved 3 times. Only 3. And he knew exactly where I was at. He knew exactly where to reach me. He knew exactly what to do. But he chose not to. He chose not to do that. Why? He probably just don't care. So he had the opportunity to see me, the opportunity to do that. But he blamed everybody else except for the person that's in the mirror. How right is that? It's not right. It's not right to do that to your children. And you act like nothing's wrong. You act like nothing is wrong with that. That's a problem. It didn't happen. I thought we would have a growing relationship after he apologized. I never got my apology, and I probably never will. I probably will never get an apology. So I had to make a choice. Do I hold on to this still, or do I move on? Because the way it's going, I would never get I'm sorry. I would never get an apology. So what do? Wait on it until he dies, or when I die? Depending if I die earlier than he does. Do I wait until then? Do I wait until he gets old? No. I have to go into the accepting the fact that the apology may never happen, but I gotta forgive anyway. I gotta be the bigger person in that situation, but it is what it is. I gotta forgive. If I don't forgive him, I'm gonna harbor that for the rest of my life. I'm gonna harbor that anger and resentment and rage for the rest of my life. And I got too much in stake for my personal life to be still thinking about that. And you know what's funny? Why is it that every time, I see this a lot with absentee fathers and their kids. Why is it that every time it's an absentee situation, the absentee father wants the child to build the relationship between them two and gets mad when they don't do it? That kills me. Like, I was told that my dad feels some type of way when I don't reach out to him and stuff like that. And I was like, it should be the other way around. It take 2 to party, Like, you can reach me. You got my number. Like, I stay a little far away from him, but he can reach me. I'm super easy to reach. He got my number. He can contact me, but I don't hear anything. Am I gonna hold it in forever? No. For what? I'm getting too old to be trying to do that. And this is that I had to let it go. I gotta and for me to evolve to the next phase of my life, I gotta realize that I gotta forgive, man. I gotta let that stuff go. You go drive yourself crazy doing that. You just can't, I was trying to pursue having a relationship with my dad for a long time. And when I talked to him, it would be straight for maybe a couple of weeks, month at the most. Don't hear nothing from him again. And it's not like I want nothing from him. I don't want anything from him. I don't. I don't feel like my father owes me either. Like when I was younger, I did. I felt like my dad got to make up for everything that he didn't give me. Now I'm like, nah, he don't owe me nothing. But I don't owe him either. We don't owe each other. He doesn't owe me. I don't owe him. Like me trying to pursue a debt. I'm not a bill collector trying to collect on the debt of a relationship. I'm not pursuing it no more. My thing is that if you want it, we can build that. But if you don't want it, I'm not about to force it. When you force something to happen, it's more damaging than you just trying to be cool with it and not doing anything about it. So, boy, I do have to say, if a father's actually reaching out to you, if a father is doing that, just receive it, man. You don't know how difficult it is for a father to, man up and reach out to their child if they had a bad relationship with them. It's hard, man. It's difficult. So if they reaching out to you, man, give them a chance. Give them a chance. Start slow, though. Start slow. Don't just, go all 100 in. Do it a little bit at a time. Because he has to still earn your trust. He still, their trust was broken when y'all didn't have an active relationship. Give him a chance. Build it up little by little. Because, that's what I would want. If my dad was reaching out to me, I wouldn't be gung-ho and go all 100. But I will give him an opportunity for the relationship to grow. So if that's the case in your situation, if you're listening right now, you have a father that you want to reach out to, you reach out to him. But if he's reaching out to you, you do the same. Reach out, build that relationship, but don't force it at the same time. If you didn't try up 10 times to build a relationship and he don't want it, he don't want it. Don't force it. You just gotta let go. Like they say, let go and let God. You gotta let that thing go, man. If you don't let it go, man, you just go hold it in and harbor it in forever. So, it's a that relationship, once you rebuild it, that thing's a marathon, it ain't a sprint. Y'all ain't gonna be taking selfies on Instagram and Facebook, having a good old time, partying and chilling overnight. And I'm not saying that's the goal. I'm just saying build a relationship with your father. It takes time. It takes time to do that. And if you're a father reaching out to the child, you got to be patient. You got to think. It's a lot of distance between y'all. He doesn't know you. You don't know that. You don't know you don't know that kid. Like I said before, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's difficult. It's hard. It's something that you got to do. But if you're a father out there, you got, you're not active in your child's life, you need to do that. Be consistent, man. Be consistent in your kid's life. That child didn't ask to be here. So don't put it in a situation that they gotta obey you, they have to conform to everything that you're doing real quick. They ain't gotta do all that. But you do need to give it some time. Give it some time for it to grow. Be patient, man. Also be consistent. Be dedicated to being active in your child's life. No matter what you're going through with the mom, no matter what you're going through in your personal life, no matter what you're going through with other circumstances, you need to be there for your kids. Be active in your child's life. Step up, man. I ain't saying it's easy, but it ain't as difficult as y'all pointed out as. I feel like anybody could be an active father in their kid's life. Well, except for if you're in prison, but that's a whole other issue. You can figure it out if you're in jail. Write some letters. You can do something. The only time you can't build a relationship with your child is if you passed away, if you gone, if you dead. That's the only way that. Oh, excuse me. That's the only way for that to work if they passed away. If they didn't pass away, you got all the ample opportunity to have a relationship with your kids. Even if they reject you and don't want it, keep persisting. Keep going. Because then they can say like, okay, this man done been trying. He been trying for some time and I still won't let him in. Eventually that child is going to give in and try to give you something. Because it's a missing link. You want to have a connection with your parents. Like, you got a connection with mom, but if dad isn't involved like that, you still want that connection. You still look up to your dad in some form. I know my dad went in my life as a child, and I partially, not exactly looked up to him, but I still wanted I still wanted him to see what I was doing. I still want him to know what I was doing in my life. When I was younger. Now I may have, the intent might have been a little off because I always did it to prove people wrong that I wasn't my dad. But I still wanted him to know what I was doing. So that's why, I invited my dad to my college graduation because I want him to see one end was like, look what I did without you. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little petty, just a little bit. But the other part of me is like, you got a child here that actually, is out here growing up, doing his best, and doing the right thing. You still want that acknowledgement from your dad that you actually, being a positive citizen and you doing right in your life. So I don't see that, just find a way to build a relationship with your kids because it's important. Fathers, you got to realize that your kids need you. They don't want you. They don't, they need you, man. Money ain't enough. Spend time with them. Have that relationship. It's important. Like, you're your son's hero and your daughter's first love, man. You got to realize that. But, that's something that's very important. But those are the 3 things that I learned about me and my dad's relationship. That, we are a part of each other. I'm my own man. And you gotta forgive, although you never get the I'm sorry. That's the things I learned about dad's relationship. I know other people usually have, different things that they learn about their dad. So if you're listening to this, write a comment and tell me the 3 things that you learned about you and your dad's relationship. Good, bad, and different. I want to know about it. And if there's comments and stuff like that, maybe on a future episode, we can talk about it. So that's all my time for today. Thank you for listening to the Good Father Brand podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe. I'm gonna get it on Apple and iTunes and Google Play Store soon. I'm gonna do that. It's in the works. But for the moment, you can listen to it I got it on YouTube. I got it on I'm gonna post it on Facebook. It's on SoundCloud. So you can find my material on there. I do have an Instagram page called the Good Father Brand. Follow that, comment on it, things of that nature. Give me feedback about what you think about the podcast, what you think about the brand itself. If you got any questions about the brand, if you want to do anything related to collaboration or, anything of that nature, just let me know about it. DM me, send me a message, something like that. I'd be more than happy to do that. And also, if you want to do an interview based upon your perspective of what you think fatherhood is, send me a message. Send me a DM, send me a comment if you're interested, just to have a conversation about what you think fatherhood is about. Just let me know about it. I'll be more than welcome for us to have that conversation. But anyways, thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Y'all enjoy your week.